Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have joined episode 74 of Let's Talk Immigration. I am needing to make sure that Telegram is loading, and I'm not sure that it is. I gotta go. Live stream, stream with, start streaming. And I think it's working now. Great. So welcome to episode 74 of Let's Talk Immigration. I'm ready to take some great questions from the audience today. So you could type those and or I'll share a link and you can join me in the live and ask orally. Like if you want to do that, let me find that little link real quick. I'm going to share it in the comments on Facebook and YouTube here. But before we get to question and answers, what I would like to do is discuss something I learned in litigation that I'm doing through my other law firm on behalf of some Iranian families who are stuck in post-interview AP. Basically, we beat the government's motion to dismiss. This is a case called Taharian. The government had to produce administrative records. They produced them. We said that wasn't right. They weren't the whole record. They've revised that production. And in the revised production, which still isn't perfect, and we're still going to do some motion practice to see if we can get the whole record, they did reveal a detail that I've never seen revealed before. And so some of you might think this detail is very negligible and not a big deal, but when you're making the same legal arguments over and over and over, every little detail matters, okay? And so here's what the detail is. I'm going to share my screen with a declaration of Rachel Ann Peterson. She's an attorney advisor with the U.S. Department of State in D.C. Make sure I redacted everything. I did. Browser cannot access your screen. Well, that's not good. Let me see if I could share the whole window then. Present, share screen, share screen. Should have practiced this. Okay, that's too small for you to see. Here's the sentence. The CCD reflects that the consular officer requested a security advisory opinion, SAO, from the Department of State, Consular Affairs, Visa Services Office, Screening, Analysis, and Coordination. The reason this is news is because the CCD, that's the Consular Consolidated Database, we did not know before this declaration on the 15th that they had access to this information, that an SAO request, that the DS5535 responses had been formatted into an SAO request, and that request happened. Now we know that the CCD contains that data. So now we have to question in every single mandamus lawsuit why they produce a declaration that doesn't include that data point. Why did they not disclose that? Why do they omit that information? Also, it raises a question. When did the consular officer request the security advisory opinion? Because in all of our litigation, as you know, we are challenging the length of delay as being unreasonable. And when you're challenging the unreasonableness of the length of delay, the reason for the delay is relevant to whether or not it is reasonable. Okay, so is it the delay caused because the consular officer did not request a security advisory opinion the day of the interview? Or is it caused by something else? The government, by giving us this sentence, they've opened a box of worms, okay? And those worms are going to get out, and I'm so excited, okay? It's going to make litigation a lot more fun. So I just wanted to share this revelation from attorney advisor Rachel Ann Peterson. Thank you, Ms. Peterson, for moving the State Department a little bit further, closer in the direction of transparency, which is essential for treating immigrants with dignity. Okay. Got that out of my system. Let me just go ahead and jump into question and answers, okay? Because I'm thinking that you all probably have better questions than I have thoughts. So let's see. Juan Ernesto Gutierrez Rodriguez says, good afternoon. Greetings from Cuba. Hola. What do you think about the Twitter that Mrs. Nicolette posted about DV 2020 and DV 2021? Thank you. I think that Nicolette, he's referring to a post made 5 hours ago by Nicolette Glazer on Twitter, where she speculated about the reason that's causing the delay for the Circuit Court of Appeals to make their decision. I found it interesting. I'm not going to endorse it and say I agree with it because I don't know enough about it. She's obviously looked closer at that Supreme Court case than I have. And I think it's interesting. That's all I'll say. I don't know. I'm not putting weight behind that speculation. I'm glad that she put it out there because it is something to think about. But and I'm definitely not ruling it out, but I don't have an opinion on it. Okay. Good question though. DV 2020. Sorry about the question, even though you're not our attorney. It happens a lot. Okay. Is it a fact that a request to lift the stay will be sent to the circuit court? Do you know when they will send it approximately? I have got an email from someone that is Gomez Class Counsel that says that they plan to do that. And we have told them that we will do that too. We will join them, but they are preparing the first draft. We haven't seen the first draft yet. Charles Cuck followed up with them today to say, hey, where's that first draft? So maybe it will be forthcoming soon. That's all I know. Oh, we've got somebody backstage, actually. Tam. Hello, Tam. Could you unmute and we're ready to talk?
Oh.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, Curtis? How are you?
I'm very good. Very good. What's your question for us today?
I was actually not prepared to ask a question, but I was listening. I was 2020 for my sister. I was
Your sister is DV 2020?
Yes.
Gomez class member, so she's waiting on the outcome of the appeal, and so are we. So we really don't have an update on that. We expect we will soon, and because the Gomez Class Counsel has said that they're going to ask the Circuit Court of Appeals to remove the stay. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to ask yet. I haven't seen the draft of what they're asking. I want to see it first. But they're going to be filing something in the near future, and we'll talk about it then. Okay? Anything else?
I have really a lot of. I have TikTok account, and I have a lot of people from Ethiopia who are have a lot of people that follow me and talk about delay and stuff like that, and people asking me about if they wanted to sue embassy or like any visa stuff like that, because I did that for my mom, and you did it win 2020-21 for my mom, and she when it was during the Trump executive order. So I was like trying to send the people to you and stuff like that. I don't know if
I appreciate that. Are they waiting on the embassy in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa?
Yeah. It's kind of,
I see.
Yeah. So there's echo. I don't know if it's your side or my side. It's kind of
I don't know either, but I appreciate you sending us people. I'll continue to talk to them and do what I can. Okay. So you're big on TikTok.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I have. Yes, there is a lot of people who the citizens, because I've seen a lot of people who are like applied last year. They got an interview, but the other people who've been like waiting, their citizens like 2020, 2019, 2020, still waiting. But the new people who applied like last year who get an interview. So why they, like the other people, even like the
Right.
citizens, still
Are they all the
waiting?
same? Are they all the same category? Or are they all
Yeah,
IR
yeah.
spouses of US?
IR1, yeah. IR1.
That is interesting because the State Department claims that they schedule people by strict
So,
DQ
yes.
dates, right? So if we can show that they don't, that puts us in a really good position. I actually have a case right now where they aren't. It's a different embassy, but sometimes they don't do what they say. And when we do, it's really good for a lawsuit. So, yeah, the people that are impacted by that, have them reach out to me, okay?
Sure, sure.
And thank you. Maybe when I learn how to dance, I'll get on TikTok and I'll see you there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people really like they don't know what to do. They're really like upset
Yeah,
about it. uh,
yeah.
the other
I
thing is about visa bulletin. Uh,
Yeah, I talked about that last Wednesday. The visa bulletin, the winner last Wednesday in the May visa bulletin was F2As. They saw lots of progress. The other family preference categories saw a little bit of progress, not as much as we'd like, as much as we hoped. Did you have a question about that?
uh, no, I was just like because of like people who are waiting, they are current on visa bulletin. Uh, so, what is the meaning of the visa bulletin when people are current but still waiting for a back like
So the
2019?
visa bulletin is just one obstacle. There are many obstacles to immigrating to the United States. It's almost like an obstacle course, right? Like from the beginning to the end, there's always something. But the visa, once the priority date is current in the visa bulletin, that's a good thing. But also, it's not a permanent thing. Those they could lose that date. The visa bulletin could retrogress. So a lot of times, what I encourage family preference category applicants to do when they become current in the visa bulletin is to do a mandamus lawsuit sooner before the number retrogresses, while they still have this window of time, because we've seen some retrogression recently. Okay, I've got other questions, so I got to keep going. Okay.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Curtis.
Good talking to you. Thanks for joining.
Mhm.
Okay. See, you all could come backstage and ask your questions like Tam did. That was fun. According to what Supreme Court said today, the Court of Appeals decision may be coming soon. That, I believe, is what Nicolette's theory was. I'm not sure. But I don't know that. I don't know that. DV 2021, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Safi, the DV journeys for the majority of DV 2021 selectees ended on October 1st, 2021. So if you're not a good luck plaintiff or someone who is eligible to benefit under the Ray versus Biden order, or you are a GO plaintiff or a plaintiff in another lawsuit, your DV path is over. So be specific. Don't just say DV 2021 question mark question. The more question marks doesn't make the question have context. Richie Alley says, hi, Curtis. Is it possible this year we will get a verdict from the Court of Appeals concerning DV 2020-2021? It is possible, and I hope it happens. Okay, another question from Freedom. I am a 2020 selectee scheduled for March 2021. I am interviewed. That doesn't make sense. Why a 2020 selectee would be scheduled in March 2021. I'm not among the Gomez plaintiffs. I'm considered to be a Gomez class. Well, actually, the information you've given me doesn't make sense. If you're a fiscal year 2020 selectee, you would not have been scheduled in March of 2021. You would have been scheduled, and then the interview would have been canceled in March of 2020. So I'm concerned whether you are a 2020 selectee or not. It's the first 4 digits of your case number. Let's start there, and then we can talk about whether or not you're a Gomez class member. Bickham says, thank you for updating. I'm a good luck plaintiff. Is there any progress? Thank you again. No, we are waiting for the outline. Thank you for the question. No, we are still waiting for the outcome of the appeal. Okay. Bobin says, do you think the visa bulletin can retrogress? I know the visa bulletin can retrogress. That's what the visa bulletin does. It's done it a lot. Like, people are always surprised when it happens. Like, how could this happen? I've got tweets where I'm telling people the F2A visa bulletin was going to regress several times before it regressed, and everyone was still like shocked. Like, they didn't see it coming. And I'm like, visa bulletin retrogresses. The reason is it is a tool based on probably an algorithm that throttles expectations so that people don't think that they're going to be called for an interview any day soon, okay? Because there's like 1 million people in line for family preference, several million people in line for family preference category visas. And they only have 226,000 of them to give out a year. And under Secretary Blinken's leadership, they choose not to even give those out. I'm actually have a hearing at the end of this month in LA where I'm arguing that Secretary Blinken has broke the law by not scheduling and issuing those 226,000 visas allotted by Congress and letting them roll over to employment categories each year. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. Bickham says, hi, Curtis. Thank you for updating. I'm a good luck plaintiff, sir. We've already done that question. Freedom says, if the appeal court rules in favor of Gomez class, will those who had interviews scheduled and canceled will be priority or not? I don't know. Before, I thought that the class members who had already been scheduled had an advantage because their cases were already at the embassy. But now, as we know from a declaration that was filed in Gomez by the government about their IT systems, they've already exported all of the eligible DV 2020 class members' cases to embassy. That's what they say they've done. So, since they've already done that, that means all the cases are at the embassy, but they said that the embassies can't access them yet. So, I don't know if you have an advantage or not. I don't know. He says, excuse me, typing error. Interview scheduled for 2020. So you're definitely a Gomez class member, okay? The only way you would not be a Gomez class member if you were a DV 2020 selectee is if you were issued a DV 2020 visa that you did not travel on. There were several, primarily from Cuba, but also Algeria, who DV 2020 selectees who were issued visas, but then there were border closures because of COVID, and they were not able to leave and travel on those visas, and those visas expired, and their DV journeys ended because Judge Mehta did not do a carve out for them. There was it was sort of complicated, and there was a misunderstanding, I think, but that group of people were losers. They were not the Gomez class. They were not selected as Gomez class members. Okay. Lunas says hi. Hi, Lunas. Bobin says, in which way mandamus can help a F2A current case to get the interview? What about if your case still at USCIS, but prior current in visa bulletin? Well, if the case is still at USCIS, you wouldn't sue the State Department. You would sue USCIS. That's who your mandamus lawsuit would be about. There's an important nuance for mandamus lawsuits against USCIS. Can't file them in Washington, D.C. If you do, the government's going to fight you like crazy to get it out of there. That's because USCIS is not located in D.C. They moved their office. So where we have to file those cases right now until we figure out a way around that is where the petitioner resides. So the F2A, the green card holder in that couple, where they live in the U.S., where their domicile is, that's where that jurisdiction is where we would file the lawsuit. Freedom Stands. Can you explain what is speculation online is about delay in appeal court ruling? I'm not sure if I understand the question. Speculation is when you try to guess what's going to happen. That's what speculation is. And generally, I don't spend a lot of time in handling speculation because 1,000 different things that could happen, and you could spend all the time talking about the things that could happen, or you could live your life. Faisal says, any updates about Gomez case? Faisal, that's all I've been talking about now for about 20 minutes. So you have shown up late. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. Still waiting on the outcome of the appeal, and the Gomez Class Counsel has told us that they will prepare a first draft of something that they want to file with the Circuit Court of Appeals related to lifting the stay. Okay. But they have not given us that draft yet. Okay. Philman says, do we have a chance 2022 winners, or it's expired? You do not have a chance. That journey is over. Hopefully, you can win the DV lottery again. I know a lot of times people think statistically that's not possible. I have probably talked to 100 people that have won more than once. So it is very possible. Just make sure you follow the instructions, because like today, I've already spoken to somebody who was excited that they won the lottery, did the DS260, but they didn't follow one of the instructions, so they're not eligible. So follow the instructions too. Okay. Oh, Ron has another question. According to what the Supreme Court said today, the appeals court decision could come soon. I think that's what Nicolette was saying on Twitter, but I don't have any reason to go there and make that prediction. Hopefully it's true. Okay. You said about the delay in court ruling, there is some speculation about why the court ruling is not issued. Yes, there are lots of people speculating about lots of things, and that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to talk about speculating. I'm here to tell you what I know. What I don't know is not what I'm here to talk about. Bickham says, hi, Mr. Curtis, what's exactly the problem for Good Luck? If there's no solution, is there only solution for this case? The problem with Good Luck is the Biden administration appealed our victory. Okay, so we won an order for preliminary injunction, and the Biden administration appealed that order. That is the problem. The Biden administration, Secretary Blinken is the problem. Okay. Yes, I understand that. Okay. Bobin says, it seems like you did not explain in which way mandamus can help when you are current. Okay. I did kind of go around in a circle there, didn't I? If you are current and you're waiting for an interview, well, it depends. There's two different places. Just because your case number is current in the visa bulletin, I still don't know the status of your case. Is your petition approved, or is it not? Are you DQ, or you're not? There's three places you could be there. If you are still waiting for your USCIS petition to be approved, we could sue USCIS and speed up that part of the process. If you are not DQ, that's probably your fault. So there's nothing we can do in that part. Because you haven't given the NVC your documents. The third section is you have been DQ'd, but you haven't scheduled for an interview. So we would sue the State Department, not the embassy. We would sue the State Department to say, you have a duty to interview this person because they are documentarily qualified. They paid their fee, and this delay has been unreasonable. Our hope and goal would be to get the State Department to schedule you for interview at that point so that the lawsuit would go away. So that's how it could help you. Hope that helps. Bacon says, thank you. Juan Ernesto says, thank you for keeping us updated from Cuba. You're welcome. I want to visit Cuba. I hope I will see. I hope I will do that soon, someday. And when I do, I'll still do my weekly Let's Talk Immigration, except I'll do it outside so you can see I'm in Cuba. That'll be fun. Maybe local clients can come there and not hurt me. Okay. Bobin says the petition is from Congo Embassy, DR Embassy about F2A. Do they have a long wait? Does Kenesha have a backlog for interview? I would need to check a couple things. I'm not really sure I have that off the top of my head. I know Nairobi does, and actually I'm filing a lawsuit with my other law firm on behalf of Nairobi, a group lawsuit. The registration for that lawsuit was supposed to end yesterday, but our team has decided to extend it for a week to see if we can get more participants. So if you're waiting on an interview from Nairobi, check out my other law firm's Ready Go Law's website for that. Also, I'll go ahead and tell you Ready Go Law is also launching a group lawsuit for employment-based visa applicants who are NAP, Iranian employment-based immigrant visa applicants, all the EB categories that are NAP for at least 6 months or more. So that'll also be on our website later today, I think. Okay. Wait. Of 9,095 visas that have to be issued in DV 2020, how many of them will be Ankara Embassy share? Ankara Embassy doesn't get a share. Nobody gets a share, okay? It's not like that. That's not how it will work. We know that it will not work like that. It never works like that. So a lot of it will depend upon international conditions at the time that the visas are issued. Sometimes there's winners and losers related to that. It is not the best time in the world, for example, if you were a Russian DV 2020 class member, because the Moscow embassy is closed and you cannot get a visa to Poland, so you have to get a visa to somewhere else in the Schengen area or somewhere else. And so that's a disadvantage for you. There's a disadvantage for Afghans right now that there wasn't a few years ago because the Kabul embassy is closed. A disadvantage for Sudan and Khartoum is closed, right? So, but the people who have disadvantages now might not have disadvantages by the time those visas are available. Biggest example on that's Cuba, because the embassy in Havana was closed, but now it's not. So they had a disadvantage, but now they don't. Okay. AT says, love watching your lives, but it's a reminder that nothing changes for DS5535 since your last live. AT, I want you to scroll back. Don't watch this now. Scroll back to the very beginning, and you will see that I have revealed information from a declaration from Rachel Ann Peterson that we have that gives a little bit of insight to the DS5535 situation that we never had before. And I did that here on this live. To be fair, I did it on a live yesterday too, but still, it's progress, right? I'm just one man, and you're trying to make me fix all the immigration problems in the world in one day. Be patient. I'll get to it. Y'all drive me crazy. Okay, Lunas. Charles Cuck told that preparing a joint report between all plaintiffs and will submit to the court if appeal. What do you think this initiative, sir? I watched that live, and I do not agree with a lot of the things that was said on that live, okay? But yes, the Gomez Class Council is preparing a motion or a request to the Circuit Court of Appeals, and once that draft is prepared, they're going to let us review it and maybe give our input, and then it'll get filed, and then I will share that with our clients. Okay, are you still allowed to enter the U.S. while in AP for DS-5535? I've been scared to go since last November. Yes, you are. If you have a visa, you need a visa to enter the U.S. So if you have a visa to enter the U.S., yes, you can. Lots of people in national security, AP, still fly into the U.S. on their other kind of visa, and some of them actually adjust status after they're here. That can't be the plan, though, because entering the U.S. with the plan to adjust status is not lawful. That decision to adjust status has to be made from within the U.S. Don't be scared. Okay. Sharu says, hello, Mr. Morrison. Could the decision in Gomez 2020 case become a reference for any similar case in the coming time, whether positive or negative? Absolutely, it will. And let me tell you why. The decision in the Gomez, gosh, great question, Sharu. Great question. Why has nobody asked me this question before? Such a good question. The reason the Gomez / Good Luck appeals decision will be what's called a seminal decision, of a very important decision that will be cited in the future and will actually kind of be a building block for immigration in the future, is because the State Department is trying to get the court to adopt their expansive view of 212F authority. The Biden administration wants an expansive 212F authority. What that means is he wants the most authority to keep people out of the U.S. as possible. I'm talking about President Biden. Everybody knows this, right? I'm not talking about Trump. That's what President Biden is fighting for right now. Doesn't make sense, but that's what he's fighting for right now. If the appeals court agrees with the Biden administration, then consulates will not be able to ever again issue a visa if the president says they're not eligible for entry. That's not what that's not the law that Congress passed. That's not INA 212F. That's not what it says. All it says is that the president can suspend the entry of foreign nationals. It doesn't say he can suspend the visa issuance to foreign nationals under 212F. So it is an important legal question, and whenever that opinion comes out, it will be cited over and over, and law students, when they go to law school, will read about that case if they take that immigration class. I don't think it will come up in other classes. No, just the immigration class, maybe the Administrative Procedures Act class. I don't know. But law students will say, oh, but here's the thing. They won't remember Gomez, they'll remember Good Luck, because the way they consolidated these cases, they consolidated them with Good Luck as the lead case. I don't know what you think about that, because Gomez is older, but Good Luck definitely has more plaintiffs, right? 24,000 individual plaintiffs originally. I know like 3,000 are in the U.S. now and no longer need a diversity visa, but I hope that answers your question. It was a great question. Freedom says Iranian. Okay. I don't know the context for you saying that. Oh, so you're asking how many of them are Iranian share? No, and I'm trying to explain this. Those 9,095 visas are not going to be subdivided into this many for this group, this many for that group, this many for that group. No, that's just not going to happen. You have advantages if you're at certain embassies. You have disadvantages if you're at other certain embassies. You have advantages if you have one nationality, like if you're French, it's probably an advantage. If you are Iranian, maybe a disadvantage, because they're going to look closer at national security, because Iran doesn't share national security secrets with the U.S. If you're Somali, it's a disadvantage, because U.S. embassies have more scrutiny of Somali documents. So, okay. About 9095 visas blocked. That is not a whole sentence, Lunas. I don't know what you mean. Salim, DV 2021. That's not a whole sentence either. The majority of visa journeys for DV 2021 selectees ended on October 1st. Okay. Thanks, Curtis. You're amazing. Keep up the great work. Thank you, AT. More questions from AT, please. Bobbin says, do you think if Trump is reelected, will make a family-based immigration harder? I think he'll stop it. Does that answer the question? I have a lot of people that are delusional about that think that like, oh, everything's just going to be a little. I may stop doing immigration law if Trump is elected president because there may not be immigration to talk about. Okay. I mean, yeah, we'll fight about it for a few months or whatever. But if Trump is elected president, the goal, I mean, these are nativists. They do not want anybody here that's not already here. Okay. Sometimes I talk to people in the immigrant community who are actually supporting Trump, and I think that they are crazy. I understand that Biden is disappointing in several issues, but Trump is a fascist, and he should not, and a criminal, and should not be allowed to have power. It's a bad idea. I know that you're not recommending it. You're just saying what will happen. What will happen? It's not, if Trump is elected president, I think a lot of you trying to get here maybe should rethink that decision, because a lot of people that are in the U.S. now are going to leave. Okay. Okay. AT says, I'm a Canadian citizen to enter the U.S. Okay. So you're wanting me to tie this comment to your previous question about, can you come in if you're in AP, if you're Canadian? Yes. I mean, I think there's a nuance there on whether or not you're a controlled Canadian or uncontrolled Canadian or part of the nexus and stuff like that. But I would not stop you being an AP for an immigrant visa from you entering the U.S. I mean, there's always a chance that they could say no to you at a border, but they can always do that. Do you think Trump will make family immigration based harder? I answered this. I don't know if I answered it. I just kind of had a episode. Okay. Erman says, good evening, Mr. Morrison, forgive me. I don't know the U.S. law, but will DV 2020 appeal decision be resolved in any way, or will it go for years without any decision? Well, Erman, I think it's safe to say it'll go for years without any decision because that's what's already happened. Okay. But it will not go indefinitely forever. Eventually, the Court of Appeals will issue their opinion. Bobin said, backing up to this, important concept in all my clients, Mohammed Thongjong Kennedy, good luck, Jacob, Ray, all of you, you know this because I have told you this. Federal judges do not have deadlines. So when they do what they do, that's when they do it. It's not when they don't have a deadline to do something. Bowman says, how do you see family-based immigration case under Trump? I don't. If you have access to an immigration benefit right now, between now and this election, my advice is to do everything you can to move heaven and earth and accelerate it and make it happen while it is still an option. Freedom says, if the ruling in Gomez 2020 issued, should we contact the embassy? If the ruling in Gomez 2020 is issued, we will have instructions as counsel for Mohammed Thongjong and Kennedy and also representing other DV 2020 selectees. I will communicate with them. You will receive communication with us about what happens next. If you're a Gomez class counsel, a Gomez member of the Gomez class counsel will communicate with you about what happens next. Okay. I think it is unlikely that the State Department will want people to contact embassies. They will probably want the reverse where the embassy contacts you, but we don't know that procedure. I will say in DV 2020, we had a lot of success contacting the embassy on behalf of our clients particularly after we won the first preliminary injunctive order that said that our plaintiffs had to be prioritized, and actually not before then, but it depends upon the words in the order, what they say. There's probably going to be two orders too. There's going to be an order where the Circuit Court of, definitely will be two orders. Circuit Court of Appeals will issue their opinion, and then Judge Mehta will issue his. Judge Mehta's will probably have more of a timeline in his. Circuit Court of Appeals would not expect a timeline in that one. Herman says, I mean, as the appeal decision would take years. Yes, it could. We don't know. Okay. So that was a good 40 minutes of fun. And I want to have a good 40 minutes of fun next week too. Episode 75. Oh my gosh, that's like an anniversary. Maybe there will be cake. I don't know. But I'll see y'all next week. Okay. Be safe out there.